All right, so it is December the 7th, Wednesday. It's Wednesday, listen to me. Tuesday. December the 7th. We are
Taco Tuesday.
We are tacoing about sampling tonight. So yeah, I did. So my name's Alex Anderson.
Megan Anderson.
And we're going to be doing basically giving you guys advice and tips on sampling and telling you about how we do it, how sampling has bettered our business, and try to give you guys some tips and tricks of
simplicity. Try to simple it down for y'all.
Okay. So real quick, getting into sampling, I think the biggest thing is, and the one thing that we noticed coming into the business is that I've been a Scentsy customer for years, but I never sampled every single item that was out there. And I didn't want to be totally honest. When the consultant that I had was actually Amy Dernan, she was actually who I bought from, and she asked me. The only
reason why we joined is because he was spending way too much money, and now I make money off of my own purchases. But we, when Amy, she would give me samples of dishwashing liquid and washer whiffs, wax, you name it, I got it. But a lot of times I would take that stuff and I would set it to the side, and Amy would say, well, how did you like it? And I'm not gonna lie to you, oh yeah, Amy, it was great. And she knew I didn't try it. So the next time she'd give me a different item to see what I actually liked. And that was the whole thing, is there's certain people who are out there who are just different. Like I'm different. I'm weird about certain products. And so once she actually got me to try the washer whiffs, I was hooked. And then every time she would give me a package, I would have a different scent of washer whiffs. And so I would try all of them, and then I started buying all of them. And that was kind of the thing. She introduced me to a lot of different products. And then when we started selling, there were still so many other products out there that we hadn't tried. So what we decided to do is we actually used our host credits. Mm-hmm. We do this for all of our sampling. We never, ever come out of pocket for samples. We actually don't come out of pocket for our own stuff that we use in our house. So all of our laundry is taken care of by host rewards and credits. But what we try to do is if we get a new scent in, for instance, Palm Beach Breeze, when we started selling this and it came to the catalog, I took a container, I got the container in, we used it, but out of that same containers, we actually made samples out of it as well, because we wanted to be able to use the product, make sure that we liked it, and then also give that to people and tell them that this is something new that's in the catalog. It's not the same scent that you smelled before, unless they actually did, wasn't this spring? Mm-hmm. So we wanted to get it into as many hands as possible. So that's kind of how we did that. And what we do too with sampling is we are very honest with our customers. And I think that's one thing that they love about us, is they know how honest we are. We are not going to sell them something that we don't like. And we also won't sample something we don't like either. So
yeah. And there are some people, you want it?
Yeah, I need
so that. So Megan's hitting admit, if you see us look down, that's why. We're fighting over who needs to let people in. So yeah, the biggest thing though is to actually get product into people's hands. If people don't know what the products are, how on earth are they going to spend money? I mean, point blank. But that doesn't mean spend money out of pocket. The only thing that we really spend money out of pocket on are all of our containers that our samples. I'll tell you, we've even turned that into not paying out of pocket. My sister, for instance, works at a hospital, and y'all are going to think that this is the craziest thing.
Crazy, because I thought it was crazy too.
Okay, so this is actually what we put our whiff samples in now. So this is what our whiff and laundry detergent sample looks like when I give you a package. And I'll take the little card out, that way you can see it. But it says wash the load on me. So if I put that up there. And so it actually tells you what's in here. So there's Jamie Time washer whiffs and laundry detergent. And then on the back, we actually have the instructions and then all of the ingredients list. We put that in this little clear cello bag that was super cheap. I actually accidentally bought 1,000 of these for like $8.
The wrong thing.
And they were the wrong thing. They weren't meant for this, but this is now what we package these in. And then I have my washer whiffs that are in this container. And then in this little vial, I actually have, this is the laundry liquid. Yeah, this is the laundry liquid.
So we have tried multiple ways to do laundry liquid. I'll be honest with you. He got these on Amazon. This is the best way so far.
So these actually come with a rack. They're 15 milliliter tubes. They actually come with a rack, and I set all of these in the rack. And I literally take the pump and just pump down the line. I do 3 pumps in each one. It gives them about 12 milliliters of the laundry liquid. And then I give them this container. Now, this is hospital grade. And I can share this.
But you can buy it
this link, but
super cheap.
But they're from Amazon. They're super cheap. They come with a test tube rack. One thing that is awesome about that, I told you that's hospital grade. This came from the hospital as well. If you've ever had to go take a urine sample, you normally get a large cup. Y'all, I got these from free from the hospital. This is actually what you're supposed to do a urine sample in. And instead, I get these from the hospital for free. They save them for us now. And this is what all my washer whiffs go in.
Because these technically expire. So once they're expired, they can't use them anymore. So we just take their ones that are expired.
And technically, this is 2 scoops of washer whiffs. We do 2 scoops. And I'm going to tell you, people do sampling different ways. There are some things that I don't spend a lot of time on, but when it comes, and I don't spend a lot of time on these samples, but
we do invest and spend the time in washer whiffs.
Washer whiffs we sell a ton of.
Is a huge return.
Yeah. So normally, and just to kind of give you a number, every single package that goes out of my house will have this little duo with it. And normally we go through laundry loves in a month. At one point we were doing 15 to 20. Right now it's slowed down a little bit. Normally the winter time, for some reason, people don't wash clothes. I don't know. But summertime, everybody wants everything fresh. Y'all, literally 20 of these a month, 20 laundry loves a month is what we sell. So it's an average of about 5 a week. And it's because we send people with this.
And they didn't, I mean, they don't know what it is. If they've never tried it, they don't know what it is. They'll never use it. So because why are you going to spend $30 on a tub if you don't know if you're going to like it?
Yeah. And then when people actually try this stuff out, like I said, if you put it in their hands and they can try it, then they're actually going to buy it.
Now we have found that the small tub, the $12 tub, you can get, if you do 1 scoop per, you can get 20 samples out of 1 scoop of the small tub. Large tub, if you're doing 1 scoop per, you're going to get what, 50? You can get 50 samples out of this. So that's a good way to just kind of navigate.
There are some people
whose rewards at 50 samples.
There are some people who will do 50 samples and do 1 scoop. Just from our experience, doubling it up, giving them that real, and because I put 2 scoops when I do the laundry. If I tell somebody, if I tell somebody to throw, I still tell them to do the whole blanket trick. Hey, take the sample, throw a blanket into your washing machine, your favorite blanket, snuggle up with the couch.
Use this on their sofa blanket.
And normally they come back and say, I just need a tub of that. Or can I get the whole bundle? We sell more washer whiffs than we do laundry loves. I went to
gymnastics tonight. People were asking me for this.
Well, and here's the whole thing. I actually stopped Amy Dernan's daughter, her oldest, one day, and I was like, what does your mom wash her laundry with? And that's how we really got hooked, because her advertisement was through the kids at gym. Like their clothes smelled so good and fresh, and they were strong, and all these other kids stunk, but her kids always smelled good. And so that was kind of her advertisement, and it was like a sample, but not really a sample. You know, you got a sample of what it actually smelled like.
So if they can't get the hospital tube, this is the next best option.
So we do a 4x3. It's actually a 4.5x3 little bag that we actually put washer whiffs in if we can't get if the hospital doesn't have any of these little tubes. Now, I'm sure there are containers, other containers that are out there that look like this. Here's the whole thing about it. There's a lot of containers, like you can actually get the small bags that are in the consultant store that say Scentsy on them. They'll fit 1 scoop. With these though, I find that they don't, because they are hospital grade, they don't actually stick to the side and they don't eat away at the plastic.
We have made that mistake too. It's just trial and error, right? So
Yep.
using the regular little plastic bags that you would get that people like to put like little jewelry and stuff like that in, we used to try to sample in those when we were first starting out and just slap a sticker on it and go from there.
The washer
But
whiffs.
The
ate it.
washer whiffs will eat through the plastic.
Yeah. Now the ones at the consultant store sells, they don't. We haven't had any issues with those. But this is literally just a 4.5 by 3 inch little baggie. And again, we'll drop all the links for these on the or in the drive on the Scent Warriors page. But
Amazon. So those are good, but tell them, okay. So these are the little bit, you put the scoop in there, and then these are the ones that you use the crimping tool and you hot seal them.
so this little tool was $15, best investment that we've made by far, because I don't have to sit.
Use a straight.
I used Megan's really expensive hair straightener when we start this, because as you can tell, I don't have hair, and I didn't really think they were that expensive, but it was, and I ruined her flat iron. And so you literally just crimp it, and that's why we bought it. So that's just one of the ways that we use samples and how
I
we
never
use.
got a new flat iron
Nope, she's still using the same one with the burn marks on it.
with the plastic.
But that's just one of the ways that you can use it, use samples to bring back money into, or basically get a return on your investment. Now, the only thing, like I said, that we're actually investing in are the samples itself. Not the samples, the actual packaging itself. The product, we're using product credits, host rewards. Those half off, sometimes we'll have to use half offs. And then so we will eat that cost, but we try not to. That's our whole goal, is not to spend money on these products. We try to build our parties to where we get that stuff back. And even if it's something that we want and we want to try, like I said, we'll make samples out of that stuff as well. Biggest thing that we came up with is just simplicity. When you try to overdo sampling, and I'm going to show you something in a second, and you're going to say, that's not what you just told us to do. But simplicity. When we did these little packages of the washer whiffs and the laundry detergent, I didn't want stickers all over the actual tubes. I like the fact that there's one piece of paper that's front and back on these. They can read everything that they need to read. And that's it. I mean, that was the only thing that they had to read. And it was kind of common sense on, like, this is the liquid because one's liquid, and then these are the whiffs because they look like, I guess, what a whiff should look like.
Whatever whiff is.
Yeah. So simplicity is everything. If you give somebody that's a sample that's over complex, they're not going to know what to do with it. That's why I put wash a
And
load on
actually
me really
putting
big.
those directions in there helped a whole lot too, because people didn't realize
So
what really to do with it until we put those directions on it.
And I've heard horror stories about people thinking that washer whiffs went in the dryer. Or I actually know someone who was taking a bath with washer whiffs, because the person just gave them a little, as Lori calls them, dime bag of washer whiffs. And
I mean, you could wash yourself with
and
it.
they
Who
thought it
knows?
smelled so great, and they started washing with it. So it's definitely important to do
Gotta
that.
keep it simple, guys.
Uh,
So the biggest return we see is laundry, okay,
Yeah.
from samples. The
And-
second biggest return we see, soak.
So soap for us is something that
Huge.
huge. It's something that holiday times we do see a huge, I guess, uproar again.
A lot of gifts.
With gifts in the summertime. This stuff is hot. So moving into our spring summer catalog, soaks, one of the top things that we will do samples on. I will tell you, we do bulk sampling. That's how we like to sample. And I never knew what bulk sampling was.
So
Or,
we learned from Karen.
yeah, Karen told us about bulk sampling one day on one of these Taco Tuesdays. Y'all, hands down,
Game
game
changer.
changer. And I'll tell you, when you start doing wax, you start doing, and we'll talk about wax in a second, but when you do like 2 or 3 bars, and then you start getting a rhythm, when you start doing sampling. And it's the same thing when you do soaps. It's the same thing when you start doing these little packages.
We'll have some of our consultants who are under us come over, and we'll literally do like little sampling get together for our
Yep.
local people,
But
and that helps too.
we whip out samples like
so fast and so much quicker because we're doing
We're sticking on
big,
one thing.
we're staying on one thing and we're doing big batches. So one day we'll do literally all, this is all laundry
might do
samples. I have an
3
entire
or 4
basket.
tubs of washer whiffs in a day. So 50 per tub, you know, I mean, that really adds up to what your samples are.
Yeah.
Same way with soaps. In a given day, we might do, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 bags of soap. It just depends. But that day we'll stick to just soap.
Yeah. And then what we also try to do, because we're bulk sampling, one of the coolest ideas that we were given was to, and again, we learned it right here on this, on Taco Tuesday, was to try to pick an item every month and stick to that item and focus on pushing that one item every month. And through sampling, we're able to do that.
Is watermelon tangerine still on clearance? No.
No. But
I was going to say it's really good when you have something on clearance like watermelon tangerine that you could use comes summer, spring.
If it stays over though, that's what you gotta worry
I'm
about.
one of those people. I'll still give somebody a sample of something, even if it's not a catalog sample at the time, because they love it no matter what.
Because it's free.
Because it's free.
Yeah. And we do that with our testers too. We do give those away as samples.
When your old testers, whenever your old testers from the old catalog and you got new ones coming in, give them a little tester. That's a sample that you did not have to make. Cincy made that for you. So easy.
But bulk sampling for us is really easier than you think too. When you stick to just that one item. So what does your soap sample look like? Oh, let me show you. Oh, it's right there. So that is a cozy cardigan one. So that is an older sample, but we still have them. We're not going to just throw good product away.
And it's cozy cardigan. Honestly, I think these are some cozy cardigans we had left over. Well, no, we made these this summer because we had soak and cozy cardigan left over from last season. So what we'll do is if we have something left over from last season, we'll go ahead and if we know it's coming back, we'll go ahead and already sample that for the upcoming catalog. So whenever you see, like, I have all of my summer bars that I have in boxes in a closet right now that I know are all my summer bars. I have them all listed out. So whenever we get that, what's going away and what's coming in what, January or so,
that's when we start.
I'll go to that box that I have in the closet and I'll look through that list and see what bars I have already on hand that are coming back. And we'll go ahead and start making samples for those then.
It sounds
before
crazy.
They even go in the catalog.
It sounds crazy because I'll use Host Rewards to actually buy like one of the most popular bars basically of that season before at the end of the catalog. That way, because if I think it's coming back, I'll buy it. And if I don't, I'll just use the bar myself. But again, I'm getting it with all host credits. But we try to do that with a few products and it might just sit there, but we'll have it and we'll be ahead of the game when those items do come up. Now, laundry, I'll be honest with you, with laundry products, we use what we already have that's coming back. So this year, Jamie Time was a kind of a mid seller, but I really pushed Jamie Time hard because I love Jamie Time. I love everything Jamie Time. My truck smells like Jamie Time.
It did. It smelled really good.
My laundry smells like Jamie. Everything smells like Jamie Time. So that is what I pushed for laundry this year.
So this is one of those bags for the soaks, and what we'll do is we have the dimensions on it. It's a 6.5 by 3.5, and these are Amazon too. So we'll put those in the drive as well.
Yep. And so we do have a sticker. Now you can find, there's a lot of labels that you can find. I'll be honest.
I am not good at labels.
And Megan's not. So what we did, we have an Avery account. And what I did was there's a bunch of sampling groups that you can join. I found a label that I liked. And originally I was like, oh, I'll use what they had on theirs. The more I saw it, the more I didn't like it because I'm weird about the way things look. I want it simple. I don't want a bunch of extra stuff. I have now going to, even this one, I actually have a picture of Megan in the soap. I don't even put those pictures on it anymore because I want them to focus on the product, not all the labeling. So a lot of our stuff will look like this, to where there's no graphics, to where it's just clean cut. This is what it is. And this is how it is, and use the product. Don't worry about what this.
And like we said, a lot of these
packaging looks
samples
like.
are already going out with orders that people are already getting out the door anyway. So they know who I am.
Like I said, we try to do one product per month, but our staple is always the laundry. And then
wax. We are a company that started off as wax. We'll never go away from selling wax because that is our staple item, warmers and wax. So we like to send out wax samples as well. And one of the things that we like to kind of mix it up sometimes when we see that sales are, and I'll show you the wax sample before I get into this. But this is what our wax samples look like. Now, there are many ways to do samples, many different ways to do samples.
We personally do not like felt samples.
We don't do felt samples.
But we don't do a lot of mailing of samples either.
Everything for us, for the most part, is literally dropped to the front porch. And now we have in our neighborhood alone, we probably have 350 people who live in, or 350 houses in our neighborhood. Out of that, we probably have about 50 customers in our neighborhood alone.
Pretty much majority of our.
And they keep us, those 50 people keep us pretty busy.
A lot of our sales are all over though.
Yep. And so, and we are branching out and getting into other states, but we can mail them
Like
normally
little-
samples. We'll sample a little box and shoot that out to them. One of the other things that we have done is little baggies, just
Little
like you would
sample
do
baggies.
for a party bag. Some of you may have heard about like the party sampler bag. But we'll send out these little baggies and put them in a mailer bag full of samples at the beginning of the season normally. That way we can throw a catalog. If I'm going to pay the shipping on it, I'm only going to pay it one time.
And that's
I'm
why
gonna-
we do those for like our out of state people.
If
One
they're-
thing and go.
Yeah, if they're out of state, we honestly are out of this area. We'll put a bunch of different samples at the beginning of the catalog season and then send that out to them. If we do, because we do some snail mails just with the scratch off stickers. If we do those, we'll send those to them as well. But we try to send customers these little, I guess, party packs if we get good, consistent customers in an area. But when it comes to our wax, I'll be honest, guys, we've done everything. We've done the felt samples. We've done these are melted down and put into molds. We've also done the whole cut your brick or cut your bar. We've also done, what else have we done? We've done the shavings.
Yeah.
We've done, you name it, we've done it. So we've tried everything. For us.
Depends on what we have time for. So if we have time to melt them down and make them pretty, we'll do that. If we don't have time to melt them down and we literally get like, they have the cutter, the crinkle cutter, whatever from, ours is from Pampered Chef. We'll just take the crinkle cutter and we'll cut bars that way.
Yep.
Pretty much all about the same
size.
size anyway. One's just prettier, but it's whatever you have the time to do.
Now, one thing with sampling though, and I'll
Doing
be,
something is better than doing nothing.
yep. And the other thing is that and this is why I said one item per month. If I give you wax this month and I give you wax next month and I give you wax the following month, I just gave you 3 cubes of wax. So I'm not really helping my sales. I'm supplying you with wax. That's how we figured out. We do when sales kind of drop, and this is a little gimmicky thing. I had one more. Where's that soak at? Oh, it's right behind me. I'm blind. So what we were doing for our neighborhood is we came up with these little packages because we have so many people in our neighborhood. So we came up with these little cute packages to where we would throw a few products in with a product sheet. And especially at the beginning, we do this at the beginning of every catalog as well. We put them in a clear cello bag, put a little bow on it. I'm sorry, guys, didn't have time to do that today, or would have done that as well.
Kind of been in a funeral.
Yeah, kind of been in a funeral. But that's kind of how we would package this up for the big, doesn't want to stay in, for the beginning of the catalog season. But this is the fanciest you will ever get from us as far as a sample. This is over the top. It's not simple, but this is normally goes out to like our VIPs that are in our neighborhood. And then everybody else, they are getting sampling. They're getting a product sheet. And normally,
You don't have the other bag?
normally we have a larger bag, a larger cello bag. We put that product sheet in there. We'll put a sample of laundry and a wax, and then that's it. That's all all we put in those, then we'll drop those off as well.
So somebody was asking about how we advertise to our neighborhood. So we have a Woodlake, well, we live in Woodlake Estates, in case you wanted to know. We have a Facebook group page for our entire neighborhood. That's pretty much how everybody finds their lost pets, finds their whatever, you know. And so, like he said, once a catalog, what we'll do is we will go ahead and post on that Facebook group page anybody interested in any samples. And those people will then send, if you want samples, send us your address. And they'll send address, and then we'll just go drop them off. And that's how we do that. Now, for the first year of us selling, 0 goose egg from our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like, no matter if we posted in,
We could give away a free bar and
we
they
could
wouldn't
give
buy.
away something, they wouldn't take it.
So it took word of mouth. It
It
took
did.
one person to buy one warmer and
And one person to share that and say
And-
how great it was.
and then that person's the neighbor's husband saw it and said, well, my wife would love if I could get off of her crap list if I bought her something like that. So he bought the same warmer. She shared that warmer. So it then became all word of mouth. So it just took that one
during
sale.
COVID, everybody wanted our cleaning products. That's where the majority of our customers in the neighborhood came from, was because of COVID and cleaning products, because I had them and I just could drop them off at their front door.
So one of the questions was, do you mail out samples to people? And if yes, how do you deal with the cost of postage? So with a business, it's like anything else. We
You may have to
basically,
eat it a little bit on the front end.
yeah, we do try to save as much as we can. We are very,
And so that's like
Um,
these heavier packs that we're talking about. Like, we won't just send this out to 50 people. Like, these will only go out to the people who we know are spending consistent money with us. So we're not just sending it out to all
but we set a budget.
ever many thousand people we have.
I have a budget, and to be totally honest, my budget is for mail, for any sampling items. It's only 10% of what our commission is. So 10% of our commission is what we're allowed to use on those additional products. So if I have a month,
Extras.
yeah. So if I have a month, let's say if my commission is $100, 10% of that is only $10. So you have to be creative, because I don't want to give it does sometimes take a little bit of money to make a little bit of money. But my whole thing is that when I get the commission check, it's mine. I want it all. I don't want to share it. And that's why I told y'all, we get all of our product itself. I'm getting all of that for free. Now it is a tax write-off, and you can claim it on your taxes.
As your
That's
advertisement. In case you didn't know that, we did not know that in the beginning, and that is something that Karen taught us as well.
But a lot of this stuff, you can write off on your taxes, but you have to make sure that you document everything kind of from the get-go, because you can't just, we had to do it last year, but we had to go back, our booking got messed up, and we had to go back at the end of the year and figure everything out for the months prior to.
But when you're only doing one item per month, it's easy to figure out what you used.
Yeah. And also when you do like I said, when you're doing that bulk sampling, I mean, that was our biggest thing. That's why we switched to bulk sampling too. We have kids, and then we have a busy family, like outside of my kids, like my mom and my parents. We do a lot of things with them.
Yeah, I mean, like all of our fall sample, all of our winter stuff was done before our catalog really
got here,
Got
got to us. So we tried to do as much as we could. There were a few items that we couldn't.
And like I said, I went in that closet, all those fall bars I had, went and saw what came out, and that's what we bulk sampled. We got rid of those bars that we had from last season that we still didn't get rid of, that we had holding on to.
And there were a few that, I looked at, it was like aloe water and cucumber staple, right? Like,
Never going away.
and then never say never, because look at what they did to white tea and cactus.
His favorite, he's still.
But that's the whole thing. If there's, we'll take a few bars and kind of put them to the side and then use those for sampling. Somebody else asked another question on here real quick.
I think you got them all. Oh, the sprayer. Somebody was talking about the sprayer.
Okay, so I'll tell you what this is. This is actually not counter cleaner. This is actually This is Scentsy Fresh. We started selling a lot of laundry products. So we also started selling,
Fix that.
go ahead, babe. So sorry, we have 4-year-old in the background. 6-year-old, sorry. But we started doing Scentsy Fresh. And that's actually what this is, this little sprayer. So we found that we didn't like how the cleaning products were coming out with sprayers like this. It's not the same nozzle, it's not the same head. So what we wound up doing was switching our samples over to Scentsy Fresh instead. And for counter cleaner and actually all-purpose cleaner, y'all, a bottle of all-purpose cleaner, dilute it to the instructions that are on there. If you take normal, the cheapest paper towels that you can, and you fold those paper towels down as small as you can actually fit them in this little bad boy, which is, this is normally what we put our wax in. It's the same size, but you can actually stuff that paper towel in here and then pour a little bit of that all-purpose cleaner, not the concentrated, but you can actually put, did she mute me still? Am I muted still, y'all? Okay. But I can actually stuff the paper towel in and then actually pour that all-purpose cleaner in here and then seal it. Cool part is that they can, when your customer gets this, they can actually pull the paper towel out and then wipe their countertops with that paper towel. I've seen a lot of different people do a lot of different types of towels. A normal paper towel will work.
And it's cost effective.
But you do need to tell people
What it is.
What it is. Even if you have a sticker on it, always tell them what you're giving them. Because like I told you, you don't want them to take a bath with washer whiffs.
Or wipe down with their paper towel.
Or wipe down with their paper towels. Or we had these cool little sponges, and the sponges you would paint the dish soap on. Well, I had somebody who took my dish soap sample, because that's how I gave it to her, was on a sample,
Sponge.
on a sponge. So on that sponge, she took it and she washed her dishes with it, and she told me about how she didn't like the sponge and it was a horrible idea. And
She
whoever
thought we
came
were
up,
selling the sponge.
she thought the sponge was what we were selling, even though it was just the dish soap that was in the sponge. So that was a big thing as well, just letting them know that the product is actually on these items if you give them extra items. We've also gotten loofahs, cheap loofahs. And I'm talking about like 15 cents for a little bitty, and it was like the crappiest loofah you would ever see in your life. But we were able to take those.
But those only went to our really good customers too.
But they were only 15 cents a piece. We were able to.
And we did Mystery Man.
Oh yeah, that was the best part about it. We pulled in our male customers. So we stuffed them in these little baggies and just squeezed the Mystery Man body wash.
We got a lot. We have a lot of male customers.
And that's how we got them.
That's how we got them.
The majority of them. So yeah, so that's kind of what we did with loofahs. One other cool thing, and I know I'm rambling and I apologize, but I want to show, no, I'm rambling. I want to show you guys one cool thing that you can actually find at TJ Maxx are these, they're made by Natural Elements, and they're these little loofah circles. So if you've ever tried the sponges that come
and they expand,
these loofahs do the same. But it takes them a little while to do the same.
You can find these on Amazon too.
You can find them on Amazon, but if you can get them in
TJ Maxx,
at TJ Maxx,
or something,
they're way cheaper. I'm just going to use my teeth, pardon me, for 1 second.
would kill him.
Yes, she would. So these things are really neat. They do swell up and expand, but we've used this as well on body wash samples. They're a little rough and tough. I'm not going to lie to you. But I promise you the soap will get into their pores and they'll be able to smell it after using one of these. These are what I prefer to put soaps in as far as body wash and stuff. So if you want to do a body wash sample, highly recommend these. You can find them. They're made by Natural Elements. You can find them at TJ Maxx if you have a TJ Maxx around you, or you can actually get these on Amazon as well. Or
some form of them.
Or a form of them, yeah. But they're called, it's a loofah pad is what it's called. But these come.
There's a ton of them.
Yeah, there was I think there were 40 of them, and I got them for $5. Definitely was worth the money though, because that brought
We're
us
still
back
using them.
a lot of customers. And then other things that you can be creative with, and some of you have already seen this. So this is actually like a little shot cup, is what I call it in Louisiana. This is what we put like Jello shots and stuff in. But this is actually sugar scrub, and we give them we're actually sending these out now. But there's a little spoon. We got the spoons from the Dollar Tree. You get a pack of them now for $1.25. But for 25 of them, you pay $1.25 for these little spoons. And then you literally put the sugar scrub in this little container, and they can scoop it out and use the sugar scrub. So that was cool. But this is basically a bunch of different ideas of how you can use and the different products that you can use to increase your sales, increase your PRV.
Like we said, try to sample things to people that they've never used before.
One thing
that turns them on to new items, more sales.
I told Megan right before we started that the one thing that you're never really taught is how to sample. And so I told her, I was like, I want to show people as many different examples that we have on hand. We're going to get you some food. Bye. My daughter apparently wants food at 8:30, and I really do apologize, y'all, especially since this is recorded. But we wanted to show you all as many different samples as we possibly could and show you different ideas of how to sample those products. And hopefully we did a decent job on that. Like I said, the sampling for our next catalog will start actually next month. We're not going to do any sampling for the rest of December, but in January 1st, when we get that catalog,
when we see what's coming back, I'm going in my closet, reading my list, picking up my bars.
Yep. And we have one, and I'll show you all this. This is where we have this tray, and this tray is all laundry samples. Like this is where we keep the stuff.
It just sits in the closet for when an order comes. So it's easy. All you got to do is go pull and go.
And what's good is we have enough of these to last us the rest of this catalog season, I believe. And it's perfect. And the last thing I'll show you is I'll actually open these up. These have been in here for a minute. There's all different types of containers and all different types of things that you can do. You can be as creative as you want when it comes to sampling. This was actually hand cream that we did. This little tube actually came with a syringe that I could suck all the hand cream up and pop it into this little container.
This was that dish soap sponge that we were talking about that expands. You paint the soap on there and then seal it on up with the little crimper tool, same thing.
That one's actually a stick, which is really cool.
It's like, so, but it expands to a circle. It's crazy.
It's really neat.
Got a ton of these on Amazon.
Ton of them. I still have a ton of them in the closet as well. And look, this is actually Jamie time. This is the first Jamie time samples that we made. This was 1 scoop, and we used the same size for our wax samples. So my daughter wants cereal. If you can't hear, go ahead and take care of that. I'm going to go ahead and end this call because or in the recording because she is ready to eat.